Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons, back with another critique for you guys. Again, it's maybe going to be slightly more of an analysis than anything else because the guitarist in question is Paul Gilbert. If you want some of his signature licks, I'll link to them up there whenever the video is live. But basically, I'm watching these to get some ideas of what licks to pick out. If you've got any suggestions for ones to check out, fire them in the comments. And on that note, if you like this, let me know. If you don't, leave a dislike or let me know in the comments. If you can be a bit constructive about what you'd like to see less of, what you'd like to see more of, I'll take it on board and I'll try and adjust and adapt this as I kind of film more of them. But yeah, this clip is from a live solo. I think I've seen this one before, but I think it's been quite a while since I have seen it. So let's just fire in.
Paul Gilbert!
As if we didn't already know. Okay, there's two things spring to mind here. The first one is that's a good way to start off a solo. You got a nice chunky kind of chugging riff to kind of dun 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 dun. You're giving people a nice steady rhythm that they can latch onto. It's going to sound big as well. He's got his top off, which could just be a display of what would you call it? Pure masculinity, but it might be because the stage is incredibly warm, which under those old lights it probably would be. The old can lights, it's absolute sweat boxes, those ones. And the reason I mention this is to just remember this is a live situation, and while I'm sure he will just knock out the park like he always does, he's probably been on tour, he's probably not had an amazing sleep. He could be sweating like no one's business, and all these things can make it more difficult to play, so it is very easy to be overly critical of these things when we sit in our armchairs and cast judgment. I don't want to be overly gushing about his playing, but I mean, it's probably going to be great, isn't it? A slight critique, I would say the tone is a tiny bit muddy here, which I think is probably to do with the maple fretboard. You sometimes find you get a slight lack of definition in the low end. The highs will cut really nicely though, but it's a nice fuzzy tone if that's your bag. In fact, I take that back slightly. In terms of having like a nice kind of soft borderline fuzz tone, it's doing a good job. It's just not that kind of cutting sound I would have expected from Paul Gilbert. So just a really nice rhythmic pattern that you can catch on to here. He's got some reach on his fingers, doesn't he? Bloody hell. So that's cool. He's taken this kind of rhythmic pattern and now he's moved it further up. So we're getting the same rhythm, but the melody is kind of expanding up in pitch as well. It's a nice touch. It segues really nicely into that as well. There's a very methodical approach to Paul Gilbert's playing that I always quite appreciate. It seems very kind of regimented, like he knows what he's doing before he does it. I've covered some of Paul Gilbert's string skips before. If you want to check that out, I'll put them with the eye up there. Nice key change to build a bit of tension, or excitement I should say. Keeping this type of string skipped arpeggios clean as well, it's doing a great job of it. I'm speechless there, quite literally. That as well, it's just ridiculously pristine playing. I will say as well, he's using a bit more legato than you might think. If you listen out for the kind of pick hits against the string, you can kind of hear it hitting and you can hear where he's hammering on, but he's blending the two together so well that it almost sounds like he's just picking the whole thing. And it's the same idea before, so he had that motif, then he went into string skipping thing, and now he's found another kind of rhythmic motif that he's taken through different scales. Very rhythmic player. I think that's what I was looking for before when I was talking about how he's kind of knows what he's playing in advance. I think he's got a very good sense of timing and also being able to audiate, so hear what he's doing before he does it, pretty much bang on in terms of rhythm. I like that one, that was cool. That's like a variation of his pattern. Again, you can check that out with the eye up there. So he's done the fancy bits now, he's doing some big chords, getting the crowd into it. That's cool. So what he's doing is creating a tonal center and then kind of playing over the top of it. So it sounds like a kind of Lydian thing. It might be a wee bit mixed Lydian-y here. It's amazing how you'll do that. You'll get something kind of slow and then just lock it in and ramp up the speed, and it stays so clean, so clean. There's something that I think is gone a wee bit out of tune. It might be his low E string, but it's gonna happen. It's rock and roll, man. It's rock and roll. I suppose my question at this point is, where are you going to go? Because he's done quite a lot in quite a short space of time. Bluesy rock, okay. So as a bit of a side note, when I talked about the tone initially, this is clearly a tone he's very comfortable playing with, that he knows well. He knows how to use it and how to tame it, because sometimes you'll get handed someone else's guitar in their rig and it's just a different sound to what you're used to. Like, I don't particularly like using drive pedals to get the sound. I like to use as much of the amp as possible and try and use pedals to kind of boost them, because there's certain I find like almost hollowness that can come from drive pedals, particularly if you're stacking them, compared to kind of like just some nice valves on the go. And I do sometimes struggle with that kind of rig. So this is a guy that knows this sound well. He knows how to tame it. He knows how to use it. Even when he's got the volume rolled down, it's still ridiculously good, isn't it? Palm muting quite heavily here, and that can really help keep that kind of staccato sound that he really likes. Helps keep things a bit cleaner, a bit tighter. The volume's back up and he's just into full beast mode now, isn't he? Great control vibrato he's got as well. That's a classic one, that. He does that picking pattern quite a lot. See, that's great as well. I was just thinking there, I've not really heard any noticeable mistake or anything he's done. There's been a bit of string noise here and there. And there it sounded like a string got under his finger, and instead of trying to sort of ignore it or brush it off, he's just leaned into it because he's like, "Oh, I know this sound, this is a good sound." It might have been intentional, but if it was a bit of a mistake, he's just made it work. Cheeky bit of tuning on the sly there, a little bit of tuning. It sounds like he's using the B and the E strings here to kind of give us a slight tonal center, but there's still a bit of ambiguity here, so I don't know if he's going to play about with that with some modal interchange or not. That's ferocious picking, isn't it? It's not even just the picking, it's the accuracy of his left hand as well. It's just pretty much flawless. He's got the drill. Who needs a whammy bar when you've got a drill, eh? I wonder how he thought about this as well. I'd like to know the thought process that went on, where it's like, I'll get a drill and I'll stick 3 plectrums to it and I'll use it to trem pick. Although it's gimmicky, it's going to be difficult to hold that drill in the right place and actually get the string hit by the picks. Oh, as a side note, you probably noticed he's got some tape over the end of his pickups there. That's probably to stop the string getting stuck underneath it. It looks like he might actually have a floating bridge on this guitar. I thought it was a fixed one, but it's an old trick because the pickups quite often have like a little lip. If you dive bomb or if you kind of bend too much sometimes, or if you hit the string really hard, it can get stuck underneath the lip of the pickup. So if you put a little bit of tape over there, that sorts it out. Why they still make pickups with a lip instead of a curved thing, I don't know. It seems like there'd be a solution you could do at the manufacturing end rather than a kind of a third party solution, even if it is just putting a bit of tape over it, I suppose. So I'm not too sure if Billy Shane taking the gun away from him was like an organised thing, or if that's Billy going, "No, Polly, you've had enough." I suspect it's probably the former, though. I have a vague memory I've seen him quote Van Halen's Eruption using the drill before, but I could be making that up, so let me know if that's a real thing or if it's something I've just dreamt up here. Okay, so one of the main pieces of feedback I got from these videos when I did them before was that you guys would like to see some licks or some sort of concepts in the videos. That's what I'm doing here, and if you appreciate this, put it down in the comments, let me know. Yeah, I'm probably going to do 2 videos on Paul Gilbert. I think I'll do one on kind of licks and one on string skips, and I'll probably do more later down the line as well. So I don't have an awful lot to add here because I think the main concepts will pop up in later videos. But that lick he did where he just got the ferocious speed on it, I don't think I'm going to cover that, so I thought I might as well do that here. So the way he looks like he's playing it is like this. So a little bit slower here. There's a lot of legato. You're just, from the looks of it, you're just picking each string once, really. And the second time it's almost exactly the same, except you go up to this 14th fret. Now watching the way Paul frets this, he bars his finger here, his first finger, as you might expect, but for this bit he also bars his middle finger. Try that a bit cleaner. And he just sort of alternates between those. After a while, he starts adding in this note as well, and he kind of rolls his pinky in order to get that. So this little middle finger rolling trick that Paul does here, this feels a bit unnatural to me, but I'm going to play it slowly and cycle the lick and hopefully just build some speed on it. Let's have a go. So I might try using this finger instead here and see if that helps at all. Still feels a bit weird, but I can definitely feel there's a benefit to rolling rather than what I would normally approach that. Kind of lifting all my fingers up. And that's about as fast as I can get that way. So if your speed's your objective here, I think there's probably something to be said for that little roll. Cool, again, hopefully some useful information for you guys here. If there's not been, let me know and I'll try and make them a bit more informative. If you like the kind of slightly more laid back, let's just talk about a guitar video without being a kind of really dense lesson with lots of information, then let me know as well. It's good to know these things either way. If you're still here and you haven't done the subscribe and notifications thing, feel free to do that. It's always very much appreciated. But yeah, take it easy guys and have a good one.